Hey there, thanks for tuning in and taking the time to watch this short video. This is another case study of somebody using cash value life insurance in their retirement income plan. I wanted to do another video case study because in the past, I've done case studies on people who were a little bit older in their 50s, and I've done them for people who were a little bit younger in their 20s, but I haven't yet done one for somebody who's around my age, like in their late 30s or early 40s. So, what I thought I would actually do instead of presenting a client case study, I thought it might be an appropriate time to pull back the curtain and show you what I actually do. So, put up or shut up time, Ron. How do you implement this strategy into your own financial plan? So, I am going to show you the details on the policy that I most recently bought here in the fall of 2020. So, I'm going to share my screen so we can have a visual here so you can kind of follow along with me and see see the logic and see how this all works. Okay. So I'm just going to walk you through my plan. And what I'm showing you right now is it's going to end up being a calculation for the capital equivalent value of life insurance. So when I work with clients, I often ask them a couple of key questions. Number one, are you investing for cash flow or net worth? Because the traditional model, they tell you to put everything in your 401k, which is a great accumulation tool, but it's a terrible distribution tool. So while it feels good in the present, it ends up being quite inefficient in the long run when you take the money out. Okay. And it's a terrible distribution tool due to taxes and market volatility, which we'll see soon. Now, cash value life insurance, it is the foundational piece of my entire financial plan, but specifically in terms of my retirement income plan, it is my volatility buffer. It's a way to fund my own personal pension, more or less, a tax-free personal pension. But because compliance doesn't like that wording, let me use the compliance approved term, a pension like stream of cash flow that's exempt from income taxation under current tax law. So there you go. Let's check out the specs on this. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the accumulation phase. And I am contributing $1,000 a month into this new plan. And in the beginning, I had a $23,000 dump in that I was able to front load this contract with. And I did what's called a 1035 exchange from another insurance policy that I had that wasn't performing or is not structured for high cash value and for retirement income. So I transferred those values into this plan using a 1035 exchange. So it's $23,000 getting dumped in right in the beginning, and then $1,000 a month or $12,000 per year. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is in the first year with the premium and with that cash dump in, it's going to generate a death benefit or life insurance of about $500,000. Okay. And then we're just going to kind of run this out over the long term because I just turned 40. So I've got this projected out until 65. So over the course of 25 years with dividends, and now we should say that life insurance dividends aren't guaranteed. And they can fluctuate with interest rates and the economy and things of that nature. But when life insurance companies, when they illustrate their dividends and create their projections, they are very, very conservative. They don't give you some kind of pie in the sky projection like, oh, we hope that we're going to earn you this and we hope the contract's going to perform this way. No, they illustrate based on what the dividend rate is today, and they run that out over the course of time as if that dividend rate will never increase. Kind of like under promise and then over deliver. Okay. So $12,000 per year for 25 years with dividends. I'm projected to have nearly a $1.5 million death benefit after 25 years. And my cash value will grow to about $650,000. So $650,000. So there you go. So what is the rate of return on that savings growth? Well, on my contract at age 65, it's 4.72%. 4.72% tax-free. Now that's pretty good, especially considering that this is just, it's a banking alternative. It's not an investment. It's a banking alternative or a bond substitute in my portfolio. Now that's not like a great outlandish rate of return. It's not a rate of return that you're going to write home about. But as I preach, true wealth isn't just about chasing rates of return. So that rate of return, it's kind of meh. But again, true wealth is about the entire picture. It's about the distribution mechanism and the efficiency of that distribution mechanism, being able to spoon off cash flow in retirement. So that's number one, is the distribution mechanism. Number two, how the tax code treats those distributions. And then finally, number three, how those distributions affect the taxation on your other government retirement benefits. So as we go through this, you'll see very quickly why wealthy people use cash value life insurance in their financial plan. So let's take a look now at the distribution phase, because that's where this gets really exciting and where this strategy or this product really shines. Okay. So during the retirement distribution phase, I'm going to be able to take out a 6.1% distribution rate from my contract. Now, what I did for myself is I ran a projection of a 25-year income stream or a 25-year pension cash flow till age 90. And so $650,000 at a 6.1% distribution rate, I'm projected to be able to receive $39,653 of annual cash flow in retirement every year for the course of 25 years. So nearly $40,000 of cash flow from this life insurance contract. Now, this money is completely income tax exempt. It's not even reportable on an income tax return. Literally, I do not file taxes on this distribution. Okay. So it's literally net spendable income or spendable money in my hand of $39,653. Now, let's compare that income or that cash flow to the traditional method of a 401k. And I want to start with the end in mind, because my big gripe with the 401k, most people don't begin with the end in mind. They simply start contributing to their 401k because they've heard that they're supposed to, but they have no end game or no exit strategy. They've got no spend down plan for this money, and they have no idea how the distribution works or how the taxation works. So let's go through this. So again, to mimic what would need to be done in the 401k or the IRA. And again, we're going to reverse engineer this, and we're going to come up with a figure that's going to show you the capital equivalent value of this life insurance contract. So again, we're going to start with the end in mind, what we want, what we desire. We want to match that after-tax spendable income from the life insurance contract. So $39,653 per year. Now, in a 401k, as you pull that money out, you have to pay the tax rates at that time. So I'm going to be conservative, and I'm just going to use present tax rates, like today's tax rates. So let's go ahead and just assume a 15% federal income tax bracket. State of Michigan is 4.25%. I'm just going to round that up to keep the math easy and just make it 20%. Now, look, I know what you're thinking, but Ron, there's $27 trillion in government debt. Social Security is broke. Medicare is insolvent. Taxes are going to have to go way up. Listen, I agree. I completely understand what you're saying, but let's just be conservative and use today's tax rates, because we have no idea exactly what the rates are going to be in the future. But just understand that when tax rates go up, it will greatly increase the capital equivalent value calculation that we're going to come up with. Okay. So if we want $39,653 net and we have a 20% tax rate, that means we'll actually need to withdraw $49,566, pay that 20% tax in order to net the $39,653. So now we have our gross withdrawal needed, $49,566. But now we have to work backwards to see how much money in this big pile are we going to have to accumulate to distribute $49,566. So we're kind of working backwards here. We're reverse engineering. And in order to come up with that number, we need to know the safe withdrawal rates. So the safe withdrawal rate is based on economic research, and it's based on market research. So this is done by the financial institutions, economists, and researchers, and they all say that the safe withdrawal rate is 2.8%. Just 2.8%. Now, for our purposes, we're going to just round it up. We're going to go ahead and say 3%, and that's what we're going to use for our safe withdrawal rate. And this gives you a reasonable chance, a 90% chance that you won't run out of money during retirement. Now, some people may be familiar with the old number. They may be familiar with the 4% rule, and that's what all the Monte Carlo simulations were done on. They may be familiar with William Bengen in the Trinity study. But what we have to remember is that research was done in the early to mid 1990s. So that was pre-dot-com crash, pre-2008 financial meltdown, pre this era where the government has said, or the Federal Reserve has said, well, we think it's just a good idea that we're going to keep interest rates at zero for over a decade. So that old research, it's not applicable to our new reality. So what happened is in 2013, Morningstar partnered with the American College of Financial Services to take a look at the new safe withdrawal rate based on current economic factors, stock market volatility, interest rates, so on and so forth. So that's where we get that safe withdrawal rate from, is 3%. So again, working backwards, if we want to distribute $49,566 per year with a 3% safe withdrawal rate, the account balance that we would need after 25 years would be 1.6 million. That is the capital equivalent value of my life insurance contract under today's tax rates and safe withdrawal rates. 1.6 million. Now, based on the amount that I have and that I'm contributing, so $23,000 to start and $1,000 per month, what would I need to equal this performance and accumulate $1.6 million? What would my performance need to be in the stock market and in a managed money portfolio during that 25-year period? So I've got a $12,000 annual contribution. Again, I had the $23,000 to start with, over 25 contribution years to get that 1.6 million. My performance would need to be just over 10.5% net rate of return after advisor fees and after mutual fund fees. So once we tack on at least 1% for advisor fees or mutual fund fees, I would need to average 11.5 to 12% gross real rate of return in the stock market for the next 25 years. For the next 25 years. And I don't mean average rate of return. I mean true rate of return, CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. Average return is a fake number that a lot of the Wall Street guys and financial investment advisors use because it looks a lot better, but it doesn't actually perform. It's not real. You need to look at the CAGR, the compounded annual growth rate. So that's what my investments would need to do, about 12% gross rate of return on average every year for the next 25 years. And here's the thing that I can tell you. Since the new millennium, in the year 2000, for the last 20 years, you know what the S&P 500 has averaged? Real rate of return, CAGR? Just 6%. Just 6%. Over the next 25 years, we'd have to double the real rate of return that's happened over the last 20. So let's take a look at my totals using a life insurance contract. My total outlay, $323,000. My total retirement cash flow, nearly $1 million. And what happens as I take that retirement cash flow, I am borrowing against the death benefit. So the death benefit slowly comes down. I projected this, again, income for 25 years until age 90. If that actually happened, and if I passed away at the ripe old age of 90 in my rocking chair, there would still be a death benefit of $225,300 that I would be able to leave to my heirs, children, grandchildren, or whoever I want. Okay. And in addition to that, there's some additional benefits because remember, as I take that $40,000 of cash flow every year, it's completely exempt from income tax. There's no federal income tax, no state income tax, no local income tax. Like if you were to live in a city or a municipality that had a local tax, that distribution does not count on the provisional income calculation that determines how much of your Social Security is taxable. On that previous example, if I was pulling out $49,566 as fully taxable income from my 401k, guess what? That would trigger a taxation on my Social Security benefits. 85% of my Social Security benefits would become taxable. And then finally, distributions from a life insurance contract does not count in the calculation that would create a Medicare surcharge tax. So now you're beginning to see why the wealthy use these plans. When you look at all of these benefits, you see why large corporations use cash value life insurance to fund their executive bonus plans. And now you see why the big banks are the largest purchasers of cash value life insurance. For example, Bank of America has $22 billion of cash value, and they hold it on their balance sheet as a tier 1 asset. Now you're beginning to understand why the top wealthiest 1%, they own 22% of all cash value life insurance assets. You know, entrepreneur, business leader, speaker, and best-selling author Chris Brady, he says the following in the book that he co-authored with Orrin Woodward called Beyond Financial Fitness. I'm just going to read it to you here. He says, "Don't be too quick to listen to the pat answers that critics often give, such as buy term insurance and invest the rest, or just say no to any type of life insurance that also develops cash value. For some reason, these two phrases have gained quite a bit of traction in the marketing that's done to North America's middle class. And unfortunately, this advice is often heeded. But the wealthy do not agree, and they don't behave that way. They buy massive cash value life insurance policies, and they max out the contributions." Powerful stuff. So what is it that the wealthy people know, that all of these large entities know, that the big banks know? What do they know that the average guy doesn't? So in summary, by utilizing the assets of a cash value life insurance plan, you're able to build as much wealth as you want off the radar screen of the IRS for income tax purposes. You have access to the capital during your working years without the 10% penalty like you would have on a traditional 401k or IRA. You're able to create predictable retirement cash flow and not pay a cent of income tax on the distributions. And on top of that, as you saw in my plan, it can help to create generational wealth where the heirs won't pay a cent of income tax. So here's the thing. I can take $650,000 of cash value equity within my policy, carve the taxes out of it, and then let you spend it as if it's 1.6 million. And I don't have any market risk. I don't have any index that I have to follow. I don't have any complicated investment plans or schemes. And because it's not reportable as income, I don't care who gets into the Oval Office. So repeat after me. Life insurance is not a 12% rate of return. But The tax code will allow you to spend it as if it is. So it really just comes down to this. This is the foundation of your retirement income plan. Do you want that foundation to be predictable or just probable? Because the stock market will probably perform, probably, maybe. Or do you want to sleep well at night? Why would you put your entire retirement at risk? And I want to leave you with this last thought. You see, Wall Street, they love the 401k. The Internal Revenue Service, they love the 401k. Let's say, for example, if you were one of the lucky few who became what they call a 401k millionaire. Under current tax law, $400,000 of that money, it isn't even yours. Only $600,000 of that money is yours. The other $400,000 belongs to the Internal Revenue Service. But does the IRS take on any of the investment risk on their portion? No, you do. Does the government pay any of the investment fees on their portion of that money? No, you do. Does the investment advisor, does he make his fee on the 600,000 or on the entire 1 million? So isn't he or she actually using the government's money to inflate their own fees? And how much money do you actually get to spend every year out of this retirement account? Well, if you have $1 million and at a 3% safe withdrawal rate, you get to spend $30,000 annually before taxes. But $30,000 annually, the advisor fee, if he's charging you just 1%, he makes $10,000 annually. All he needs is 2 other clients just like you, and now he can equal your standard of living. So whose retirement plan really is this? Yours or theirs? And that is why the IRS and Wall Street love your 401k even more than you do. Look, if you'd like to stop the bleeding and take back control of your money and your financial future, please email me or message me on social media. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I wish you the very best on your journey to happiness, health, and financial prosperity. I look forward to working with you.